Right, so we agreed earlier on that controlling the process is key for success as a recruiter. And that starts, or certainly there is no place more important than when you're taking a job order. And frankly, most recruiters are very, very poor at this stage. Let me tell you this, that filling a job order starts with the quality with which you take that order in the first place. And you need to approach that whole process not as an order taker, ironically. You're not just there to write down what the client says. You're certainly not just there to accept a job description attached to an email and to start acting on it. You're an advisor. And remember earlier on we talked too about how critical it is to be owning the moments of truth and acting as an influencer and an advisor. And that is the case when you're taking a job order. And so one of the key underlying premises to taking an effective job order is to ask a lot of questions. You need to challenge with a small c, not in a challenging way, but challenge the client's assumptions. You need to dig deep to understand the outcomes required of the role. You need to remember that mostly when a client sends you a pre-prepared job description, it is a picture of the perfect, ideal candidate in every respect. And that is not going to be the actual human being that you find. So you need to dig deeper beyond the words and understand what the real outcomes are. What are the 1, 2, 3 key deal breakers that the client really must have as a result of this hire? And so that involves prioritizing responsibilities. I mean, you'd be aware more than I am that sometimes you get a job description and it's got 10 or 12 different responsibilities that the candidate, successful candidate's going to be able to deliver. But they're not equally as important. Not all 10 or 12 or 15 of them. There'll be priorities and you need to question what are the big parts of the job, and slowly the actual shape of the job will change as you ask questions. It's also very, very important and a key to effective job order qualification is to manage the expectations of the client. It's a tremendous opportunity to control the client's expectations around salary, for example, or availability of talent. Or even simple things like notice periods that clients often say, hey, I'd like this person to start next week. Well, that's very unlikely given that most candidates are in a 1 month or whatever it might be notice period. The other thing is that I like to see a great recruiter do is to stretch the parameters of the job. And we're going to talk about that in some detail as we go through this. And by that I mean the client will give you very tight parameters. Must have had 10 years experience. Must have a chartered accounting qualifications. Can't pay more than $50,000. All these things are limiting your ability to fill the job. But not only that, and here's a very, very important thing. If you don't stretch those parameters, some other recruiter better than you will out-recruit you by influencing the client to open their mind to wider parameters, and then they will place a candidate in the job that you didn't think of. You may even get to that horror of horrors, the situation where your job is filled by one of your candidates, but put together by another recruiter. That's painful, and that will happen to you. Almost certainly it happens to the best of us, but you'll minimize that problem if you get a clear understanding of the parameters. And also you want to set control for the process and set the agenda, the timelines. Important to test the client's assumptions. So you can see now by that little description of what a job order qualification is going to look like, that it is a true consulting, influencing, advising role. And that's why it's not good enough to just have a job description emailed to you and start working on it. I mean, that is dumbing recruitment down to really its lowest possible point. All you're going to do there is keyword match your candidates against that job. You don't really know what the job involves. You don't really know the client's hot buttons. You don't really know the outcomes. You don't really know the parameters. That's not recruitment consulting. That is spamming.